Whew! So I'm going to say about this trade for the Calgary Flames. If this is what we got in return, I'm going to say, I think selling off assets, it's going to be a lot of fun, but necessary for the Calgary Flames. Hi there, it's Brett Hornby here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And finally, I'm getting around to talk about a trade that my Calgary Flames made once again with the Vancouver Canucks. Craig Conroy and Patrick Alvine starting to build a rapport here. You know, we're enemies, Flames, Canucks, but one of the biggest pieces and question marks for the Calgary Flames is what's going to happen with Elias Lindholm, as he was one of many pending unrestricted free agents coming in this season, and he was struggling and having a down season. He hasn't been the same since when Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk left town, and maybe he's been overvaluing his market, but the case, it looked like he already had a foot out the door even before factoring in the change in regime. But the Calgary Flames, I'm going to say, did very well in this transaction. Finally, if you watched my update video, I got more lights now. So, of course, I got Flames colors in the background. But with this lamp, I got to put Canucks colors. They're current, not fully embracing the skate logo full time. But who won this trade? As we just gave Vancouver Elias Lindholm, as Vancouver is looking to rebuild, or not rebuild, build up to be a contender, as right now they're the top team in the league and looking for another center depth. Maybe convince either Elias Pettersson to stay, and or not, they at least have a backup plan. And I'm going to say Vancouver has improved their center depth. We sacrificed a lot of our center depth in this move. However, we got five pieces I should say, in return when it comes to the trade between the Calgary Flames and the Vancouver Canucks, considering we're rivals, division rivals. But the Vancouver Canucks, they acquired Elias Lindholm. Well, coming here to Calgary, we get Andrei Kuzmenko. Very intrigued by this player coming to town. Certainly, he was tearing up in the KHL and was a hot commodity during the off-season, in the playoffs in 2022. And just last year, he scored 39 goals and 74 points for the Canucks. But just like Elias Lindholm, he had struggled to find his way, as Vancouver also had a coaching change as they went away from Bruce Boudreau to a more defensively structured system in Rick Tocchet, and Andrei Kuzmenko had less opportunities with the Canucks under Rick Tocchet, and even spent some time in his doghouse, while Elias Lindholm seemed to have struggled. You know, his production seemed to have declined even after with Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk leaving town. But just for those two was intriguing. Well, the Calgary Flames actually get a couple more pieces, both defensive prospects. Well, they got Joni Jarmo, Finnish defenseman who is still over in Finland, and then we got another defenseman in Hunter Restevich, who is in the Ontario Hockey League, and he looks like an offensive defenseman. So that's three pieces. And then the two other pieces the Calgary Flames receive, well, we see Vancouver's first-round pick in 2024. This upcoming draft, which, given where the Canucks are in the standings, it will be towards the end of the first round, like bottom four, or heck, if they win the cup, He'll be 32nd overall, and a conditional pick, which they have already. Right now, it's a 4th round pick. Although, I'm going to be a little intrigued to want to cheer for Vancouver to get to the 3rd round, because if Vancouver gets to the 3rd round, that pick comes to a 3rd round pick. And it says the pick retains a 4th round pick if Calgary received the better of the 2 picks currently owned by New Jersey, if it stays in the 4th round. So, to recap, Calgary trade is Elias Lindholm to Vancouver. Calgary gets Andrei Kuzmenko. Defensive prospects, Yanni Ormo, Hunter Brstevich, and then 2 draft picks, a first in 2024, and a conditional 4th in 2024, which could be a 3rd round pick if the Canucks go to the conference championship. And then on top of that, Calgary, a couple months ago, traded away Nikita Zadorov to the Vancouver Canucks for a 5th round pick in this year's draft and a 3rd round pick in 2026. So Calgary's got 3 picks that is coming their way from the Vancouver Canucks. So I'm going to still say the best player in the trade, I say, is Elias Lindholm, who is going to switch his number to 23 with the Vancouver Canucks. He has a cap hit of $4.85 million that he signed that 6-year deal with the Calgary Flames after we made that Dougie Hamilton trade. And at the time when we traded him to the Vancouver Canucks, when it comes to 49 games, he had 9 goals, 23 assists for 32 points. Far cry from 21-22, when in all 82 games he had 42 goals, 40 assists for 82 points. And then that season, in 12 Stanley Cup playoff games, when we played the Dallas Stars and the Edmonton Oilers, he had 5 goals, 4 assists for 9 points. So, and I'm going to say Elias Lindholm is a 2-way defensive forward on the center. So I'm going to say we did give up the best player in the deal, but if this player was not likely going to come back or potentially cost a lot more money, because he was seeking $9 million, and I'm going to say he would have gotten that if he was a free agent right after the 22 season. But it seemed like with Elias Lindholm this season that he didn't seem to work as well with the forward, especially Igor Sharangovich. And it seemed like it never ever worked when we tried to work with him and Jonathan Huberdeau. It just seemed like oil and water. It just never seemed to gel. But I'm going to still say thanks for everything you've done with the Flames. Elias Lindholm, I'm going to say all the best against the Vancouver Canucks. Not when you play the Flames, and actually the Flames do play the Canucks twice, but both in Vancouver. Because you recall, Vancouver's already been here twice this season. And I'm going to still say Calgary not likely is going to make the playoffs, so it's going to have to be at least next season before Elias Lindholm makes his return to Calgary. Will he be wearing Canucks gear, or could he be wearing somebody else's gear? Who knows? But you think with all the players that they gave up in the deal, that they might try to sign him, or use it to court Elias Pettersson to stay, fellow Swede. But I'm going to say Vancouver really did pay the price. But they are planning on going all in. And, sometimes that's the price you got to pay to win the Stanley Cup. And then I'm making this trade video a couple weeks after the trade. So Elias Lindholm actually has played 6 games with the Vancouver Canucks. He actually has 4 goals, 1 assist for 5 points. Because in his first game with the Canucks, he actually did score 2 goals. So he seemed to have been fitting in well with the Vancouver Canucks up to this point. Well, Andrei Kuzmenko, English no good. I'll insert chuckle here. I mean, he's been I think Andrei Kuzmenko is what this team, I think, could use right now. While we are sacrificing a two-way center, we get a winger, lifts, plays on both sides of the wing. We're in number 96, and actually the Vancouver Canucks save $600,000 in the transaction because Andrei Kuzmenko comes here with a cap hit of $5.5 million. He did sign that 2-year extension during the season, last season, for that $11 million during the season when he scored 39 goals his first season in the National Hockey League. And he's a 28-year-old from Russia. Interestingly, there I've looked it up, and apparently point out this is the first Russian that's been on the Calgary Flames roster in 20 years. So I'm thinking, don't tell me he's the first Russian since Oleg Saprykin. I know when Darryl was general manager, he hardly drafted any Russians, and then you're thinking, what about Igor Sharakovich? Well, he's Belarusian. Ilya Solovyov, he's Belarusian as well. I know these players were born after when the map has been redrawn. But so far, with when it comes to Andrei Kuzmenko, I mean, at the time when he got traded here from Vancouver, well, two things. One, he actually had to waive his no movement clause because Calgary was on his team. Maybe when he saw that Darryl was there and he was still happy in Vancouver and thinking a rival team, that he never thought he would be asked to get traded to Calgary. But then he got traded to Calgary, so he had to waive his no movement clause to get here. So that's another reason why this video has been delayed between. I was still fighting a cough and cold, but at the time this trade was made, like late in the day for me. I think I first saw it on Instagram, and I thought it was a mock trade. I just saw Elias Lindholm, and I saw Andrei Kuzmenko and a bunch of stuff. And then it was the next morning, I got my notification on the phone, like, oh, he did actually get traded. But Andrei Kuzmenko, he had 43 games with Vancouver. He had 8 goals, 13 assists for 21 points, and then didn't play in the playoffs last season because Vancouver didn't make the playoffs last season. But last season, which was his first season in the NHL, he played 81 games. Eventually he had 39 goals, 35 assists for 74 points. So he was a hot commodity coming in as someone, he hasn't been drafted in the NHL. I mean, he played with, in the KHL, SKA Petersburg, in Russia. In 21-22, his last season in the KHL, in 45 games, he had 20 goals, 33 assists for 53 points, and a plus 15. And then the playoffs, he had 16 games, he had 7 goals, 7 assists for 14 points. So he was relatively on a point-per-game pace. And then since coming to the Calgary Flames in 5 games, he has 3 goals. So far, I'm going to say we've had early returns on Andrei Kuzmenko. Even though if his English is no good, I'm going to say I'm already liking his personality. The media definitely is having fun with him. I know it's you can tell he's still trying to learn English, and what I've been hearing from you Canuck fans is that Canuck fans are missing him, and maybe some Canuck fans are slowly cheering for us just for Andrei Kuzmenko. So I'm really, really, really hoping that he can, fit in with the Flames. I mean, we gave up, a two-way center. So I think some of our defensive forwards and our center forwards and our center depth has taken a hit. But we have a skilled player up front with the personality. And I'm going to still say that I think this is what the locker room needs right now. Someone like Andrei Kuzmenko, who seems to be high in his life, even if his English is no good, and always chuckling and funny that, it was his birthday. He called it New Page. This is New Page for me with new team. And then I know there was one clip that I saw when he was in Vancouver that, to pick up your potassium on the bench, he was having a banana and some Pepsi, and the media asked about that, and he said, well, what else do you, they asked him, what else do you like to have in the locker? He's like, well, I also like chocolate. I like some Kit Kat or Twix. And he chuckles. So far from what I'm liking in this move is just for the Elias Lindholm for Andrei Kuzmenko. That's quite a haul. We got someone who's skilled, and he's also worked so far with Igor Sharangovich and Jonathan Huberdeau. Yeah, I should have made that video a lot earlier than I did about him being the worst contract in the NHL. I mean, he went, 16 games without, or he went like a whole month without getting a point. And then before, when the Flames got shut out in New York, I think he had a point every game since then. And then he's already connected with Andrei Kuzmenko. I mean, it's still early for both sides, but I'd say I'm happy with Andrei Kuzmenko. I think Canuck fans are happy with Elias Lindholm on their side. Now when it comes to the other pieces, well, Joni Jurmo is a left defenseman. Cap Friendly puts him down as a B-plus prospect. He's born April 19th in 2002. He's a Finnish. He's 21. He was from Espoo, Finland. He's a 6'4", 193-pound center, or 6'4", 190-pound defenseman that he was drafted in the third round in 2020, 82nd overall. He's not an offensive defenseman, but some are looking at he can maybe provide some size and grit based on numbers that we have so far on Cap Friendly for this season. In Cuckoo, if I say that right, in the Liga, in 12 games, he has a goal, 3 assists, 4 points plus 42 penalty minutes. And I mentioned Lives, if I said it right, in the Liga, in 28 games, he only has 1 assist. And then there's Lives, if I said it right, in the Champions HL. In 6 games, he has 1 assist. So I'm going to say this is a stay-at-home defenseman that the Calgary Flames also picked up to stock in the cupboard for the system. He's not signed with the Calgary Flames or NHL. We just have his rights. But gotta wonder, could he be someone that could come in over to North America and play with the Wranglers next year? Or this Hunter Prstevich. He is a very, very intriguing prospect. He's a right defenseman. They put him as an A- prospect on when it comes to Cap Friendly. Hunter Prstevich, he is an American defenseman. Comes from Washington, but in the state of Michigan. He was born November 29th in 2004. He's a 19-year-old. He was drafted actually 75th overall by the Vancouver Canucks in this past draft. So just before Calgary might have a chance to pick up Andrei Kuzmenko. He is playing in North America with the Kitchener Rangers. And what's intriguing about this player is he's an offensive defenseman, as this season in 52 games in the Ontario Hockey League, he has 9 goals but 64 assists for 73 points. And he has a plus 27, plus 27 and 18 penalty minutes. Last season with the Kitchener Rangers, before he was drafted, in 68 games, he had 6 goals, 51 assists for 57 points, and a plus 8 and 12 penalty minutes. And then in the playoffs, he had 4 assists and 4 points. So some are thinking that maybe Vancouver's so high on the fact that this is an offensive defenseman. And at the time of the trade, I think he was actually 3rd in league scoring for the Ontario Hockey League. So Calgary gets Andrei Kuzmenko, a character, very skilled offensive player. Despite his English not being good, provide great sound bites and seems to be high on life. And then we get a stay-at-home tall defenseman that we'll see if he'll make his way overseas to play the North American game. And while we got an offensive defenseman playing already in North America as an American. And I say both of these players have not officially signed a contract with Flames. We just have their, contractor rights. And then the 2 draft picks, the first round pick in this upcoming draft, I'm going to say will probably be like 28 to 32, depending on where the Canucks finish, if they win the Cup or go far in the playoffs. And then at least a 4th round pick in 2024. But that could be a 3rd round pick if the Vancouver Canucks get to the conference championship. That's just that condition. It doesn't say anything about Lindholm having to play X number of games or do this or that. So there's a side of me that's saying we are not going to make the playoffs. We are not likely going to sign him. I'm going to say, if this is the haul that we got for Elias Lindholm, I'm going to say good haul, new page with new core. I'll have some Kit Kats and Twix with those chuckles and sound bites with Andrei Kuzmenko. And then he is still signed next season at that $5.5 million. So if he continues to work out, maybe he's that calloused. Maybe he had that key that can finally unlock Jonathan Huberdeau so that he could be closer to that point of game rate and make his contract not suck as much. I'm going to say it would be worth trying to lock him up, but if things also don't work out, I'm sure we can flip him for another haul next season. So I'm going to say we have a nice trial when it comes to Andrei Kuzmenko. But Craig Conroy's only made 3 trades since becoming the general manager of the Calgary Flames, and they've all been big trades for assets that likely weren't going to sign. I mean, remember we traded away Tyler Toffoli to the New Jersey Devils, where we got Igor Sharangovich, who's been working with Andrei Kuzmenko and Jonathan Huberdeau, and that Adar Suniev, the pick that we used to get that 3rd round pick back. So that's 2 assets. And then we traded away Nikita Zadorov 2 months ago to the Vancouver Canucks for 2 mid-round picks, a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old. That's how Flames Nation quoted it. But we didn't retain any salary, or needed to retain salary in the trade. And Vancouver seems to be looking at potentially trading away Nikita Zadorov at the deadline. So we get 2 more picks, a third in 2026 and a 5th this upcoming draft. So that's 4 assets so far for 2 players that likely, Nikita Zadorov actually did say, I want to get traded. So that's 4 assets. And then Elias Lindholm, I'm going to say, he didn't say, I want to get traded, but I think there were a lot of indications that were saying that he wanted to get traded without saying he wanted to get traded. So we traded him for 5 more assets, including Andrei Kuzmenko, who's been, early returns have been great. 2 defensive prospects that look intriguing in different reasons, and then 2 more picks. So Craig Conroy, if you expand this whole tree of his transactions, and just trying to put his stamp on the team with the new regime, he traded away 3 unrestricted free agents for this year, and we got 9 assets. So 9 for 3. I'm going to say that's pretty good at this stage, and the rumors, the mill keeps on going because the Calgary Flames still have some more work to do, as I think Chris Tanev is on his way out. Excuse me. As half the league is on him, he's likely going to get traded. I mean, we need to cash him out. And then there's been these rumors about Noah Hanifin. He needs to make up his mind in terms of, is he going to stay here or want to get traded to play for a contender close to home. The case of Noah Hanifin, I think his choice would be, if his idea is to get as much money as possible, stay here, or if he wants to play in the United States closer to home, he's going to have to take a little bit of a haircut in money. But I'm indifferent on what the Flames should do with Noah Hanifin. I mean, if we got this much for Elias Lindholm, I'm expecting a similar-ish haul for Noah Hanifin, considering he's usually a top 4 defenseman and plays over 20 minutes a game. And then apparently Jacob Markstrom, he has a no-movement clause, but apparently there was a rumor that Tom Fitzgerald and Craig Conroy were collaborating again on a deal, and Jacob Markstrom actually did waive his no-movement clause to go to New Jersey, but apparently the snag was retaining salary that the Flames weren't able to back on. So I guess it sounds like I'm going to be making some more videos. I'll try to be a little quicker in making said videos when trades happen, but I'm actually liking the moves the Calgary Flames are making right now. We need to sell. I'm going to still say part of it is, rebuilding, retooling at the same time. I mean, the couple of assets that we could, looking like we're moving out, we'll need to get somebody that can come in right now with picks and prospects. And I'm going to say this team still looks competitive. They're going to have to be careful with next season when it comes to that conditional first-round pick that we traded away for Sean Monahan too. Because if you look at the Flames Nation and Ryan Painter broke it down, I'm still kind of perplexed on how that condition works, and it's also tied in with that first-round pick that we got in the Kachuk-Huberdeau-Weegar trade. So, but I'm going to say right now, so far, I'm liking what the Flames are doing. We need to step back a bit for a couple years, I think. Right now, embrace the new regime, embrace, a new core to work around. And now is the perfect time to maybe take a little step back and then build up this team, hopefully in a couple years, so that ideally, I would like to be a competitive team, in a couple years. Let's say give the Seldom one last hurrah and move into the new building as a contender and get out of this mushy middle that Murray Edwards likes, where we almost make the playoffs, but don't make the playoffs. Hooray, 15th round, 15th overall pick, here we come. Or we're bad enough to draft high enough. Because some teams, you can argue that both ways, that they can say that they've, been bad for years and still bad. Well, a lot of contenders that have won cups recently, they had a couple years that they had a top 5, top 3 pick. Which, other than the first season when the Flames were in Atlanta, Calgary, the Flames franchise, and when the Flames moved to Calgary, we've never had a top 3 pick. This could be a time for that. And then going back to the Lindholm trade, I know the season changed circumstances on the assets we got. This was better than the mock trade that I had, but I was thinking at the draft table. My proposed trade was, if we were to trade Lindholm at the draft last year, was I would have traded him to Columbus with our own first-round pick to get the 3rd and 66th overall pick, where Calgary would have moved up in the top 3 and got a 3rd-round pick back. But I'm glad Craig Conroy's been able to do more, because I'm going to say we've done better than that, where we got our own 3rd-round pick and all these assets. And I'm going to say I'm loving Andrei Kuzmenko. So far, what he's provided in Calgary in terms of skill, his sound bites, despite bad English, but it seems like we haven't had a player with that much personality, bubbly personality that just loves hockey. May I dare say since Jerome McGinley? But hopefully, this is the kind of player that the locker room can just rally around and have fun with, and change the atmosphere of the team after the previous regime. And then, what is your feeling on this trade? I did ask this question on my YouTube channel, and I put 3 choices about who won this trade. Obviously, Calgary, Vancouver, or even I did say, is this a fair trade? So let me get to the community tab. So I asked the question, who won the trade between the Calgary Flames and Vancouver Canucks? And I mentioned Elias Lindholm heading to the Vancouver Canucks for Andrei Kuzmenko with 2 picks and 2 prospects heading to the Calgary Flames' way. And then the options was Calgary Flames, we got to haul back. 44% say Calgary. However, the winner goes to, according to this poll, it says Vancouver Canucks going all in with 50%. And then I had a 50-50 option, and I put even for both sides at 6%. So 16 people voted in my poll. So if you go by my poll, the slight edge goes to the Vancouver Canucks. I'm going to say this was a pretty good trade for both sides. We traded away a forward that likely was not going to resign. He needed a change of scenery. For a player that needed a change of scenery, glad he waived his no movement clause to Calgary, and if he's that catalyst for Jonathan Huberdeau and Igor Sharangovich, if that line gets going, I'm going to say this trade definitely would pay for itself, and maybe we don't have the new worst contract in the NHL, plus 2 defensive prospects and 2 picks. So I'm going to lean towards the 50-50 at this side right now, but we'll see. I mean, if Vancouver wins the cup or makes another nice long run, Vancouver did pretty well, especially if they lock them up. But I'm going to say we would do very well in the long term if Andrei Kuzmenko, let's say, plays 5-6 years with the Flames, and those prospects and picks that keeps feeding this team for years to come. That's the fun part about trades, is you look at the trade right now and then you look at the trade later, and maybe this will be a tree that is in the making that Steve Dangle will go all over when it comes to on his Sportsnet, maybe years down the road, if he still does that. So anyways, to close it out, I say if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, just make sure you hit like and subscribe. I have my other social media links down in the description below. My English is still not the best. I mean, I knew that growing up. I was diagnosed with a learning disability, but I think it's a little better than Andrei Kuzmenko, but I'll do the best I can in English. Andrei Kuzmenko, we love you in the Sea of Red already, and apparently Canuck fans miss you, and so far I'm liking what you provided. If you unlock John and Huberdeau, and keep those sound bites coming, and your chuckles. I mean, I've been intrigued about this player, and you've heard this player possibly coming here with all the players that Vancouver was interested in our trade baits. Well, you got you. And he's wearing number 96, and that was inspired by when Pavel Bure wore number 96 for the Vancouver Canucks. So I just want to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. And finally got my trade view talking about my English no good. Like some Kit Kats and some Twix. Yes, I was having a banana on the bench. That's my best. Andrei Kuzmenko on the fly right now. So thank you.